the Moscone North. And if you want to swing by, you want to tweet us, go ahead. I'm at Furrier, or go to SiliconANGLE.com and check out the top stories. Go to wikibon.org for all the latest research in tech, cloud, mobile, and social, IO-centric infrastructure, and data infrastructure. We are excited for this day because we have Pat Gelsinger coming up, the CEO of VMware, and that's going to be his first CUBE appearance as the CEO of VMware. We're excited by that. Dave Vellante, so Dave, what are you expecting today, and what's on your mind?
Well, the big news today, of course, is Steve Herod's up on stage talking about new end user computing views that VMware is bringing to the market. And of course, John, this is the day that all the platinum sponsors get up on stage and do their 4-minute demos. Steve is basically shuttling them on, shuttling them off.
Earn their money for their sponsorships.
Yeah, it's kind of like rapid fire, but they're showing their best of, right? So Chad Sakich was up there from EMC. We have Dave Hitz up there right now. But so John, we are really focused on peeling the onion here on this notion of the software-defined data center. What does that really mean? What does it mean for the different layers? What does it mean for converged infrastructure? At Wikibon and SiliconANGLE, we've been talking about this notion of data infrastructure. It goes beyond converged infrastructure and really talks to how to bring big data analytical apps and transactional applications together where the big data is feeding the transactional applications in near real time. And we're talking, John, about a new IO-centric vision where flash is at the heart of new modes of business productivity. Going beyond just cutting cost and doing more with less and efficiency and really driving business value.
So Dave, I want to ask you a couple questions and observations, Gussie. What's great about VMworld, we get to sit down and talk to all the people here on the Cube and learn. Also, we also go out to some of the events and hear a little bit about what's happening. What is your take on the impact of Nicira, because that's the software-defined data center. Specifically, let's go back 2 years, VMworld 2010. Really the SpringSource acquisition really defined VMware's mission, and that was to go forward into the marketplace with this developer-centric community. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, VMware paid north of $1 billion for Nicira, so that was not an inconsequential acquisition for a company that started in 2007. My take on that is VMware is defining this notion of the software-defined data center as really trying to do what it did for compute and memory to bring that to storage, not only storage, but also more importantly networking and security. And to do that, it needs to be able to abstract the networking piece and then pool the networking as a resource and then automate that. That's all software. So that is a big move by VMware. And I think that, John, we've predicted this on theCUBE. We talked about VMware really taking Microsoft's playbook from the platform, middleware, all the way through to applications. Now while VMware isn't really replicating Microsoft's playbook on the application side, from a platform standpoint in the enterprise, it is just gaining more and more control over the management, over the middleware, over the entire stack, and now the networking piece, we've seen them do more and more into storage. The management swap between Gelsinger and Moritz, to me, signals a deeper integration of storage, and I think that it's very clear that to become the cloud operating system, VMware is going to grab as much value as it possibly can, and that has implications for the ecosystem.
Here's what we heard yesterday. So just a quick recap of day one. Essentially the core message was abstract, pool, and automate was their core message. Other things we've heard was Nicira, software-defined networking, multiple clouds, cloud era, data center of the future, big data, and end user computing. So that was yesterday. Today, what I'm expecting to talk about is, really let's talk about the new CEO role of Pat Gelsinger, and specifically apps and Moore's Law.
So we're now getting, John, the vote for the best demo. It looks like there's no clear winner. Very tense moment here in the main hall. All VMware's platinum sponsors. NetApp just was noted, and all the NetApp people are jumping up and down. They're very excited. NetApp has a big event tonight, John. A big customer event at the at AT&T Park. We're going to be covering that at theCUBE. We have Pat Gelsinger coming on a little bit later. Very excited about that. Great lineup today. Jayshree Ullal, CEO of Arista. We also have Frank Slootman, who is the CEO of ServiceNow, a new company, not that new, but relatively unknown company that just did an IPO that does IT service management. Frank Slootman, as many of you know, was the CEO of Data Domain, very successful company that was acquired by EMC for $2.4 billion. So great lineup today. We've got the CEO of VCE coming on. Got some questions for him and a lot of other really good practitioners, and we got some spotlights, and good day today.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm going to focus in on, Dave, today is really the application side of the business with Moore's Law. But Pat Gelsinger, I'm going to ask him that. I want to drill down on these new experiences that they're talking about. Obviously, there's disruption's the theme here, and VMware is really thinking big around their vision. And this includes, expanding beyond the VMware focus, which is multi-vendor. I want to hear how they're going to deal with Microsoft, HP, NetApp, all the different vendors. I think Pat Gelsinger telegraphed yesterday that it was very clear that VMware is starting to think outside of their own company and their own agenda and really bringing in more of a partner focus, specifically around extending out that ecosystem to be truly multi-vendor, a theme we've been talking about in theCUBE. I also want to talk about Paul Maritz and his new role, and find out what's going on with him. He obviously was very candid on stage yesterday at the CEO roundtable. And then also, something that came up yesterday that I want to drill in more with the guests is the hardware as a crutch comment, where it's very interesting in this market. All the hardware vendors, personal computers for example, are being criticized for not being relevant because of the era of mobile. But yet Apple Computer dominates that market cap and valuation, but only a small single-digit percentage of the overall hardware budget yet they do. So I think that's a road that people can look at. We'll explore that today, and it's going to be great, Dave. We're going to go all day, right to 4 o'clock, and then we're going to go to Paxville or AT&T Park where the San Francisco Giants play. We're going to have a great time there, talking to people off the record. And as usual, VMworld not only is great on theCUBE, it's great after hours where we get some great insight, people talking off the record. We heard a lot of comments last night about the future of emerging products that are changing their positioning on the fly based upon the dynamic disruption of the market, like software-defined data center. We're going to drill in that today. We're going to have the CEO of VCE. So these are some of the interviews ahead. We'll be live here all day at VMworld 2012 in San Francisco. And we're going to be right back with Pat Gelsinger, the CEO of VMware, in his first public appearance on theCUBE as the CEO of VMware. It'll be very interesting to find out, Dave, what's on his agenda. And we asked him at EMC World, if you remember, we asked him, what would you do if you were the CEO of VMware? So excited to get that response. We'll be right back with Pat Gelsinger after this short break.
Unless they're doing a split screen.
Baby. Rock and roll.
Well, I think it's probably 5 or 6 times I've been on theCUBE now, right? And, at first, the guys are just fun to work with.
Pat, welcome back.
Hey, always a pleasure to be in theCUBE.
Hey, I'm about to go on theCUBE. You never know what's going to happen. I'm a 3-time veteran of being on theCUBE. I hope many, many more.
Chad Sackich. Chad, welcome to theCUBE.
Dave, John, it's great to be here, man. I keep coming back because great insightful questions from John and from Dave.
What face-melting action have you seen here at the event? And I know there's a lot of it.
It's a great vehicle to communicate with a broad audience. A lot of folks watch.
Great to have you back. Good job.
All right, Craig Nunez, VP of Marketing at HP Storage. Thanks very much for coming on theCUBE.
When people mention theCUBE, they're like, oh my God, I saw you on theCUBE. And they're all excited about it. It's an experience. It's not just information. They experience kind of what's going on there. It's like real time. It's like they were there.
That was like going to the gym. Boom, boom.
Legendary IBMer, CEO of Symantec, and now CEO of Virtual Instrument. Great to have you on theCUBE.
So for CUBE to be here at a conference like this, it's got 15,000, 20,000 people, and sharing that live around the world, that's consistent with the way the world is evolving. So it's a wonderful media, wonderful media.
John and Dave are amazing. I don't know how they keep everything in their heads the way they do. It's a great format, and we're obviously seeing that this notion of real-time coverage and a real conversation is what's driving us as a company. And I say it very seriously when the questions and the comments that we hear from them and from all the different guests here directly turn into the products that we build.
Yeah, that was my first cube, and I really enjoyed it. There was the rapid fire of questions. It made me think on my feet, but they were very thought-provoking and really got me going on analyzing the greatness of Arista and the greatness of the cube as well.
John and Dave, the reason their approach works, they're not just guys, reading down the question list, right? Okay, next one, next one. It's a conversation, right? And it's, they're going to challenge you. They're not going to settle for the marketing hype and the BS and all that stuff that the industry throws around.
Come on, you got to hit him up on the HP question. A lot's changed at HP. Some turmoil at the top, obviously, controversy.
They're going to hold you down to the real facts, compare you to the choices our users have, and have you respond to it on the spot, right? Thinking real time. And so that's real talk, not just kind of a paper interview, I think.
I'm John Furrier with SiliconANGLE.com, and I'm here with Dave Vellante. We are inside the Cube. The Cube is our flagship telecast. We go out to the events, extract all the signal from the noise, and share that with you. And great guest lineups. We got CEOs, CTOs, with all the top executives, bloggers, thought leaders, venture capitalists.
I'm absolutely stunned because I know it demands 100% attention for these guys to be up there talking to people about a wide variety of technology topics. I can't believe these guys can make it so many days in a row. So I'm wondering how long they're going to go home and pass out for after this. But it was incredible. They just do a fantastic job.
If you're not having a conversation, then you're very scripted. And if you're scripted, then you might be getting the right words, but you're often not getting the whole meaning and the whole depth of the conversation to the fullest extent. I think this is a heck of a lot more authentic. It comes straight from the heart and the brain. Sometimes you might forget to make some of your points if you're not a real-time thinker. But I think both from a participation and from a consuming point of view, it's much more real.
Chris holds no punches.
So I've been on a cube a number of times, and I think the interesting thing about being in that particular venue in that format, they introduced me as, hey, Hoff doesn't pull punches. Well, they don't either, right? They ask really difficult, uncomfortable questions sometimes, and you can tell people and the positions and where they are in terms of what they're able or desirous to speak of. You can tell where they are on that borderline between kind of just honestly answering questions versus kind of glossing over them. And I enjoy being there because I don't want to say I'm outspoken, but I honestly answer questions with the full intent of being able to be respectful to the people that I bring solutions to, right? If I whitewash this crap, you're going to turn me off every single time you see me on any venue, let alone the Cube. So I like being asked tough questions. I like answering them honestly, and that's a fantastic venue for doing it. Otherwise you get on panels and you got a bunch of talking heads blabbing at each other, and it's worthless.
Yeah, this was my first time on the Cube, and I really got a chance to get to know John and Dave, and they're really amazing guys. I mean, the knowledge that they come with, the topics that they could talk about, the people that they know, and just bringing it all together in this live broadcasting forum is just fantastic. I mean, I just love it. I feel like a groupie or something,
In this environment, the social environment, the real-time environment where we're in, right? People look through the marketing fluff very quickly, and if it's not authentic, right, they don't trust it anymore. So in this environment, I think it's a growing trend.
Yeah.